Alright, so Duffer, we have a slight problem here. This is a 24 volt, 55 amp, I think, truck alternator I use for charging my off-grid batteries because I live off-grid, and in the winter months we don't get enough sunlight or even wind for the wind turbine we used to have to keep the batteries topped up. In the summer months, for 7-8 months of the year, we're pretty good. All that's wrong with this is the bearings have got noisy and a bit sloppy. I'm not sure whether it's got the roller bearing both ends or just at the belt end. I swapped it out as a spare, but I'm going to zoom you in. I'm going to take this one to bits and see if we can put new bearings in it. I used to repair all my own Lucas 16, 17, 18 ACR alternators that we used on cars and stuff back in the 80s. You used to be able to buy a repair kit, regulator, bearings and that, and do it yourself. But now everything's made in China. They've become disposable and we just junk them, which to me seems crackers for the sake of probably a standard ball bearing. It would work. It works now. It's just got to. If I don't do something about the bearing, the rotor will hit the stator and it'll be flashbang all over. So I'll get you zoomed in and we'll get this to bits and see what happens. Worst case scenario is it's going in the scrap anyway, but if we can fix it, then I've got a spare. Right, this end's where your pulley goes. There's a spacer on there, so we'll take the spacer off. And then this end, that's your voltage regulator there. We'll take that out and it has brushes attached to it. So we'll whip that out. Find the right socket. And that's your main battery out, or you can use those two. That's your ignition exciter, and that is W for a rev counter, if you have such luxury. But we'd run this off an old Lister diesel engine. Chug, 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 chug. Works an absolute treat. Put a belt on the flywheel, so this runs at about 6,000 RPM. So you get full power out of it and it doesn't overheat. For a few hours every day during the winter months if we need it, which you generally do in the UK, because it is wet and miserable. Right, I don't know whether you can see this. I might have to come up to the camera. But this type of reg pack is, where are we? There we go, focus. Is it going to focus? Yeah, there are your brushes there, spring-loaded brushes, the energizer field, and these are rotating fields. The power is taken off the stator. And these are 3-phase high frequency, so they generate lots of AC in 3-phase, go through a 3-phase bridge rectifier, and then out give you 24 volts in this case, or 12 volts on a car one, to your alternator for charging your battery. And you control the output by how much energy you shove in the field. So the reg pack senses the output and then winds the volts up and down and current on the field accordingly, depending on battery volts and load. That's about as complicated as it gets. Oh, there we go. Well, I wonder what that is. What have we got? 63032 RS. I should have those in stock. Yeah. Ooh. That is a needle roller. You won't be able to see this. You won't pick it up, I shouldn't think, on the camera. But there is a needle roller in there. Wipe that out. It looks all right. I bet it's just the front one that's got sloppy. Wash that out and repack that with grease, and it will probably be absolutely fine because there's no load on that bit. Yeah, instead of having a bush, they put so you won't see it on the camera, the best will in the world, but there's just a cage needle roller in there. And let's have a look at the rotor. This is your field. This bit is your rotating field. with your slip rings. They're not too badly worn. Yeah, for the sake of a bearing and a clean up, that'll go again. I'll bring this over. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up, but I'll bring it over. I don't know whether it's going to be able to see it because of lack of light. There you go. That horseshoe bit in the bottom there, that is your 3-phase diode pack. It's not very complicated at all, so I don't think you can see, but right down inside there is a needle roller bearing in there, caged one. But that is as complicated as these things get. And there is grease on that, and the rollers look good. So yeah, I don't see why this shouldn't work. So I need to go to my stores and see if I can find one of those bearings. I'm pretty sure I've got one of those in stock. Oh yeah, that's at it, that bearing. Right, so I'm going to pause the video here and dash to the stores and see if we've got a bearing in question. We should have. I did have a new bearing in the parts container. I gave all the bits a quick wash off in the parts washer. I packed the rear bearing with this is molybdenum disulfite grease, CV boot grease, the black stuff, slippery as you like, because that's what seemed to be in there, and it has a seal on it. So I'm just literally going to pop it back together. And I noticed the brushes, there's a bit of wear on the brushes, so we might have to change the reg pack, which I do have kicking around. So I always keep a spare reg pack. It's the sort of thing you can change literally on the fly if you suddenly find it stops charging. And this did mess about, and the slip rings are all right, but to be fair, these aren't the quality of the old Lucas stuff or the Bosch stuff, certainly not the Bosch stuff, but they're like 75 quid, these things. So we're not talking an absolute fortune. It's just, it grieves me to throw it in the bin for the sake of a few quid's worth of bearing, and it gives me a spare. Because it'll only ever go wrong when it's dark, miserable, wet, cold, English summer really. And usually late at night, because we generally only run it in the evening whenever you need it and everything's on and the batteries are down. And I looked to replace it. I could only find 75 amp units, not 55, and okay, that would charge the batteries up. We use lead acid, deep cycle, leisure batteries in 24 volt configuration. Rather than lithium ion. I know they're long term, they last longer, and so they're sort of cheaper, but too many things catch fire with lithium ion batteries in at the moment. So I'll stick to my old lead acid, and the last lot we got 7 years out of. So oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, there's no, you could clunk, 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 clunk. Now, this should be springy. When you pop those brushes back in and go to put it back in position, it should have a bit of spring to it. Yeah, there is. So they've still got a bit of life left in them. So a bit of a quick video for you, but I needed to have a look at this anyway. I needed to know whether I'd throw it in the scrap bucket or we could recover it. So we thought we'd do a quick video on it. Hopefully that's useful to someone. Don't be frightened if it's working but needs a bearing. There you go. 6303, a little bit of effort, and you're back in business for a while, even if you had to put a reg pack in. I think these reg packs that come complete with brushes are like 12 quid, 15 quid, something like that. They're not. There's an A127 regulator, if I remember rightly. They're no money, so you could get it going again even if you need a reg pack as well, which is better than 75 quid. So I got another year out of it for the sake of a bearing and a regulator. Marvellous. There you go. I hope that was of use to someone, and I say thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.